Hello fams, good day and welcome back to our YouTube channel Diary TV. Of course, I remain your humble host, Divine Favor Awogo. Today we are diving into a story of resilience, redemption and raw talent as we unpack Taiwo Awoniyi's sensational return to action for Nottingham Forest. The Nigerian striker is back and boy, does it feel good to see him tearing up the pitch again. Alongside him, Chris Wood's been banging in goal, helping the Reds secure some crucial results. So grab a drink, settle in and let's break down everything you need to know about Awoniyi's comeback, its impact on the team, and what's next for Nuno Espírito Santo's men. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment with your thoughts on Awoniyi's return. Now let's get started. First up, let's talk about why Awoniyi was out in the first place and how he battled his way back to the squad. Up next, that's the nature of Awoniyi's absence and its preparation. Yes, Taiwo Awoniyi's journey back to the pitch hasn't been a walk in the park, of course. If you've been following Nottingham Forest, you know this man's been plagued by injuries over the past couple of seasons. The most recent setbacks, a hamstring strain that kept him out of action, with the injury striking during Forest's gritty 1-0 win over Manchester United in early April 2025. This wasn't just a minor knock. Hamstring injuries can be tricky, and for a player like Awoniyi, whose games relies on explosive pace and physicality, of course it was a massive blow. Boston X even pegged his return at late April, with some doubting he'll be back at full strength this season. But Awoniyi is made a tougher stuff. So what exactly kept him out? Well, this hamstring issue came hot on the heels of a string of other injuries last season. Awoniyi's missed significant chunks of time due to recurring groin problems, including a surgery that sidelined him for months. He also dealt with a high thigh injury that had fans fearing he would miss the entire 2023-2024 campaign. Add to that a concussion and a broken nose from an FA Cup clash against Exeter City earlier this year, and it's clear Awoniyi's body has been through the rigor. The guy's been out for more games than he's played in some seasons, which is heartbreaking for a player with the talent. But here is where the story gets inspiring. Awoniyi's preparation for his return was all about grit and determination. Nottingham Forest medical team put together a tailored rehab program focusing on strengthening his hamstring, improving flexibility, and ensuring he could handle the physical demands of Premier League football. We're talking hours of psychotherapy, gym sections, and gradual on-pitch drills. Awoniyi himself shared glimpses of his recovery on social media, showing him running sprints and working on his ball control. Nuno Espírito Santo, Forest manager, was cautious, emphasizing the need to wrap up Awoniyi in cotton wool to avoid re-injury. That means controlled minutes in training and a slow build-up to match fitness. What more, Awoniyi's mental toughness shone through. Missing preseason due to personal reasons and battling constant injuries could have broken a lesser player, but he stayed focused. He worked closely with sports psychologists to keep his head in the game, and his faith, Awoniyi is a devil Christian, played a big role on his resilience. By April 2025, he was back in the squad, ready to make an impact. So how does this return shake things up for Forest attack? Let's dive into that next. Of course, up next is Awoniyi's impact on Nottingham Forest attacking options and expected role. Yes, Taiwo Awoniyi's return is like handing Nuno Espírito Santo a shiny new weapon in Nottingham Forest attacking arsenal. Forest have been punching above their weight this season, sitting third in the Premier League table as of April 2025, an incredible feat for a club that was fighting relegation just 2 years ago. But with Awoniyi's back, the Reds, of course, attacking options just got a whole lot spicier. So how does he fit into the squad and what role is he expected to play? Now let's start with the impact. Forest attackers relied heavily on Chris Wood, who's been an absolute goal-scoring machine with 18 goals this season. But with Awoniyi's sideline, Nuno had to get creative sometimes, deploying wingers like Anthony Elega or Callum Hudson-Odoi as makeshift strikers. It worked to an extent, but there's nothing like having a natural number 9 like Awoniyi. His physical presence, aerial ability, and knack for scoring in tight spaces gives Forest a different dimension. He's not just a poacher, he's a battling ram who can hold or play. Linked with wingers and bully defenders, remember his goal against Arsenal in May 2023 that secured Forest's Premier League survival. That's the kind of magic he brings. Now don't get me wrong, Chris Wood's been phenomenal and we'll talk more about him later. But Awoniyi's return means Nuno can rotate his strikers, keeping them fresh for a grueling schedule that includes Premier League, FA Cups and potentially European football next season. Awoniyi starts back up his value. Last season, he scored 10 league goals despite starting only 17 games, with a goals per shot ratio in the top 1% among strikers. That's elite level efficiency. With Wood as the first choice starter, Awoniyi is likely to come off the bench to start in cup games initially, but Nuno's hinted at using both strikers together in a two-striker system against certain opponents. Imagine the chaos those two could cause. As for his role in Nuno's strategy, Awoniyi is expected to be a vocal point in transition. Forest often play on the counter using the speed of Elegant and Hudson Audio to stretch defenses. Awoniyi's strength and pace makes him perfect, but latching onto long balls or finishing off quick breaks. He's also a set-piece threat. His header against West Ham last season showed he can dominate in the air. Nuno's been clear. Taiwo is a goal scorer. He always has chances. The plan is to ease him back, but once he's fully fit, expect him to challenge Wood for that staring spot. What do you think? Should Nuno start Awoniyi or keep him as a super sub? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Next, let's shine the spotlight on Chris Wood and how his partnership with Awoniyi is shaping up. Of course, Chris Wood's contribution and partnership with Awoniyi. If Taiwo Awoniyi is Forest's returning hero, then Chris Wood is the man who's been holding down the fort. The New Zealand striker has been nothing short of sensational this season, bagging 18 goals in the Premier League alone. His latest strike, a clinical finish that helped Forest secure a vital result, keeping them in the hunt for Champions League qualification. But what exactly has Wood brought to the table, and how is his partnership with Awoniyi and the rest of the squad developing? Wood's contribution goes beyond just goals, though let's be real, those goals have been massive. His work rate, hold-up plays and ability to bring others into the game have transformed Forest's attack. Against Aston Villa earlier this month, Wood was absent due to a hip injury and Forest felt his absence. But when he's on the pitch as a leader, his volley against Villarreal in pre-season nearly broke the net, and his 5 goals in 6 matches earlier this season showed he's in the form of his life. Nuno called him hugely impressive, and even Newcastle Eddie Howe, Woods from a bus, couldn't stop singing his praises. Now let's talk about the partnership with Awoniyi. These two are like fire and ice. Woods the cool, composed finisher, while Awoniyi is explosive, all-action striker. They haven't had much time to play together due to injuries, but when they do, it's electric. Think back to last season's 3-2 win over West Ham, where Awoniyi scored and Wood set up chances. Of course, their styles complement each other. Wood drops deep to link play, while Awoniyi makes runs in behind. Off the pitch, they're tired. Awoniyi has spoken about how Wood's experience has helped him settle at Forest. The wider squad dynamic is clicking too. Morgan gives White's creativity, elegance, pace, and Hudson Odio's flair gives Wood and Awoniyi the service they need. Nuno's building a team where everyone knows their role and the camaraderie is clear. Check out the team's social media for those wholesome training ground vibes. With Wood leading the line and Awoniyi back in the mix, Forest attack is looking lethal. But how does this season from stacks up against earlier in the campaign? Let's break it down. Nottingham Forest current form versus earlier season and prospect. Yes, Nottingham Forest in 2025 is a team reborn, sitting third in the Premier League with just a few games left. The Reds are dreaming of Champions League football, something unthinkable a couple of years ago when they were scrapping to avoid regulations. But how does this current form compare to early in the season, and what are their prospects for the rest of the campaign? Earlier this season, Forest started strong, with Awoniyi scoring in their first 3 league games before injuries derailed him. Chris Wood picked up the slack, and players like Gibbs, White, and Elega stepped up. By December, Forest were in the top 4 thanks to wins like their 3-2 thriller at Old Trafford against Manchester United, but there were hiccups, back-to-back away losses to Fulham and Aston Villa showed they are not invincible. Still, their current form is red hot. The win over United, powered by Wood's goal and a solid team display, proved they can compete with the big boys. Compared to earlier in the season, Forest are more consistent now. Nuno's tactics, high pressing, quick transitions, and a solid backline led by Nikola Milenkovic have gelled. They've used the fewest players in the league, which speaks to their squad stability despite injuries. The city grounds become a fortress, with fans chanting Nuno's at the wheel after every win. Their prospects, of course, sky high. With 6 games left, including clashes against Everton and Bournemouth, Forest could secure a top 4 finish. A cup runs also on the cards, and with Awoniyi's back, their depth is improving. But injuries to key players like Ola Aina could test them. What's your prediction for Forest final positions? Let me know below. Yes, finally, let's talk about what we can expect from Taiwo Awoniyi as he ramps up his comeback. Of course, that takes us to what's up next, expectations for Awoniyi's performance, and of course, goal scoring. So where can we expect from Taiwo Awoniyi now? And that's his back. The expectations are high, but they are of course tempered with realism. This is a player who's proven he can be a game changer. His 10 goals per season, including that iconic strike against Arsenal, cemented his status as a Forest hero, but injuries have disrupted his rhythm, and regaining that match sharpness is the next hurdle. Awoniyi's goal scoring ability is undeniable. His goals per shot ratio is among the best in the league, and his physicality makes him a nightmare for defenders. His first goal of the season, a clinical finish off the bench against Wolves in December 2024, showed he's still got it. Nuno's backing him to return to his peak, saying Taiwo can absolutely get back to that level. The key is fitness. Awoniyi is working hard in training, and with Fortress medical team monitoring him closely, the hope is he avoids further setbacks. Fans are buzzing for him to hit the ground running. If he can stay fit, 5 to 7 goals in the remaining games isn't out of the question. Especially with Forest creating chances galore, he's likely to start in cup games or come off the bench in the league, but a fully fit Awoniyi could still would sport. The Nigerians also got a point to prove after missing the Africa Cup of Nations. Expect him to play with fire in his belly. What two bold prediction for Awoniyi's goal tally this season? Hear the comments. And there you have it, folks. Taiwo Awoniyi's back, and Nottingham Forest are firing on all cylinders. From battling injuries to rejoining the Red Hot squad, Awoniyi's return is a massive boost for Nuno's Champions League chasers. With Chris Wood leading the line and a team full of talent, the Reds are ready to make history. What's next for Forest? Can Awoniyi discover his magic? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this season's going to be a wild ride. Thanks for watching. You legends, if you enjoyed this deep dive, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more Forest content, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Drop a comment with your thoughts on Awoniyi, Wood, or Forest chances this season. Follow me on Twitter for updates, and of course check out the merch link in the description to rep the Reds in style. Until next time, keep the faith and let's go Forest. And do not forget, of course, we remain Diary TV.